This is TomoNews for Wednesday, August 30th. How animals are surviving Hurricane Harvey. As Hurricane Harvey dumped water all over Texas, humans weren't the only ones looking for relief. Animals of all shapes and sizes were caught in the downpour and had to be rescued along with everybody else. The rich animals were the lucky ones, because they were able to get out before the rain hit. Blue-collared friends like Harvey the Hawk wasn't as fortunate. Heavy rains forced Harvey to hail a cab rather than take to the skies. Guess Harvey isn't a big Uber or Lyft fan. Gators have also been trying to escape all the wetness. Many have been seen hanging out in the burbs. And of course, man's best friend and our favorite feline companions were stuck just like everyone else. Oh, how heartbreaking. We're talking about that poor cat stuck in the back, not the old grandmas, although they're okay too. And it wasn't only the big animals looking for a helping hand during Tropical Storm Harvey. Insects were in on the action as well. Stay dry out there, folks. Pretty soon, some sharks will have a Napoleon complex. Damn it, climate change! Climate change may actually be altering the size of the planet's fish. A recent study published in the journal Global Change Biology suggests that rising temperatures in oceans might be shrinking fish. Warmer waters mean less oxygen, something fish need to grow into adulthood. Fish use their gills to breathe underwater. From an evolutionary perspective, less oxygen would see gills adapting to warmer waters by becoming smaller. Researchers found that warming oceans may cause fish such as tuna and trout to shrink by around 30% and 8% respectively. They estimate that worldwide, this trend could reduce the amount of fish that can be caught for food by 30%. But hey, at least on the positive side, you might soon be able to put a pet shark in a fish bowl. Flood survivor snaps at CNN reporter. A CNN reporter received a serious dressing down when a Houston flood survivor snapped and launched into a live on-air rant.
First day, yeah, that's a lot of but y'all sit here, y'all trying to interview people during their worst times. Like, that's not the smartest thing to do. Like, people are really breaking down and y'all sitting here with cameras and microphones trying to ask us what the wrong with us.
So I'm so
and
sorry.
you really trying to understand with the microphone still in my face, with me shivering cold, with my kids wet, and you still putting a microphone in my face.
The mother and her family are just some of the thousands of people displaced by Hurricane Harvey and the subsequent flooding in Texas. The woman just couldn't believe it when CNN shoved cameras and microphones in the faces of survivors as they sought refuge from the storm. But we'd say there's a fine line here. However shocking or uncomfortable, journalists have a job to do. It's just that some of them lack sensitivity to the needs of others, absorbed in their own ambition and desire to get the story. Fault doesn't just rest with the reporter, however. She has an editor to report to, and would be out of a job the moment she stopped shoving that microphone into survivors' faces. Her bosses, too, have superiors to answer to, and on it goes. We need to see the bigger picture here. The suffering of the survivors, that visceral, voyeuristic connection viewer has to victim, is what we expect to see when we turn on the news. In other words, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? The Upside Down is in Chicago. Season 2 of Stranger Things is coming, and what better way to delve back into that universe than with a trip to a pop-up bar based on the show? Aptly named The Upside Down. You won't need to open any interdimensional rifts to get in, but the decor is so spot on, you'll feel like Will Byers stepping into an alternative reality. Just, boozier and less terrifying. And speaking of booze, there are 7 cleverly named cocktails, including one with 11's favorite Eggos. The drink will help you channel your inner 11, and you'll be telekinetically defeating Demogorgons and Thessalhydras in no time. Alternatively, you can just sit around fangirling at the upside-down furniture on the ceiling, the Hawkins Lab fence, and the entrance to Castle Byers. They've even got the alphabet wall set up, complete with Christmas lights, so you can communicate with the outside world, or ask the bartender for more drinks. Either one. Crazy fans will need to move fast, though, because the shop's on a temporary run through September. And less than a month after that, it's showtime. In Maharashtra, taxi drivers do not accept payment in kind. 2 Russian taxi drivers have reportedly been fired after they forced 2 women to smear a green antiseptic dye on their faces as punishment for not paying their fare. This video of the incident has gone viral in Russia, where the green dye, known as zilonka, has a pretty interesting backstory. It all went down in the city of Khabarovsk in Russia's Far East, when, according to the reports, the women didn't have enough money to pay for their ride. The taxi driver called in the heavies, and they forced the women to green up like the Hulk. In recent years, the dye, known as brilliant green, has been used against political opponents of Russian President Vladimir Putin. The green solution is a topical antiseptic that's great at treating wounds, but takes days to remove from the skin, as these Russian politicians who dared to speak out against Putin can confirm. The Russian state has never prosecuted anybody for attacking opposition politicians with brilliant green. Some say that's a sign of tacit government approval for the so far anonymous attackers. So maybe these taxi drivers are Putin fans and thought they'd get away with forcing the 2 women to go green. But seems their employers didn't agree, though.
Waiter, there's a frog in my salad.
An animal lover from Southern California was hopping mad when she found an unexpected source of protein in her food. The woman, a strict vegetarian with meat allergies, had an unforgettable experience while eating an organic salad she bought at Target. Fearing she may have accidentally eaten some tiny frogs, the woman rushed to the bathroom and blew some organic chunks. Even worse, though, the woman and her husband then thought the motionless frog had croaked it. Luckily, however, the husband performed CPR on the frog and brought the little guy back to life. The Kermitted couple now have adopted the frog as a pet and named him Lucky. And it's lucky for Lucky he didn't end up in a salad bought by a Frenchman. They'd be queuing around the block if Target opened a salad bar in France. Target offered the woman a $5 gift voucher as compensation. She says that doesn't even cover the cost of the salad. Guess you should have told them to hop it. Scientists are calling this a medical breakthrough. A drug typically used to treat arthritis and fever can cut the risk of heart attacks. According to U.S. government information, heart disease accounts for 1 in 4 American deaths each year. New research suggests that the anti-inflammatory drug canakinumab can reduce the risk of a repeat heart attack by 15%. The research tracked 10,000 heart attack patients in 40 countries who were treated with the drug every 3 months over a period of 4 years. Canakinumab was shown to be more effective than statin, another drug heart disease patients usually take to lower cholesterol. The researchers also found some in the study, most notably the elderly and diabetics, contracted potentially fatal infections and sepsis. Experts say the drug could save lives, but some are wary of the side effects. And how would you like your pizza to be delivered? Ford and Domino's are launching a research trial using self-driving Ford cars to deliver pizzas to customers in Michigan. Ford Fusion hybrid autonomous cars will be fitted with heat-wave compartments that are designed to keep the pizzas warm en route. Random customers in Ann Arbor will be given the option to choose the self-driving pizza delivery. Customers can track their order through an app. They would then walk out to the parked car and retrieve the pizza from the compartment using a unique code. Domino's tested its Domino's robotic unit in Australia and New Zealand last year. The company announced earlier this year that the robots will be used to deliver pizzas to customers in Germany and the Netherlands. Great news for chocolate lovers! Researchers have found there are compounds in chocolate that could help to prevent and treat type 2 diabetes. Beta cells inside the islet of Langerhans in the pancreas are responsible for secreting insulin, the hormone that regulates blood sugar levels. When someone suffers from type 2 diabetes, the beta cells malfunction and produce insufficient levels of insulin. Compounds found naturally in cocoa, called epicattin monomers, were found to be able to increase the ability of beta cells to secrete insulin. The compound successfully helped mice on a high-fat diet to cope with elevated blood sugar levels, as well as decrease the extent of their obesity. Researchers are looking for ways to extract the compound out of cocoa in order to create more effective treatments for diabetes patients. Big data is getting bigger. A US-Norwegian company is planning to build what they say will be the world's biggest green data center. The Kolos data center is slated to be built within the Arctic Circle in northern Norway. The center will be fully powered by sustainable hydropower and wind energy. Kolos claims green energy combined with the cool climate will lead to a 60% reduction in energy costs. The site will eventually cover a total of 600,000 square meters. The data center will initially draw on 70 megawatts of power, which is scheduled to rise to 1,000 megawatts within a decade. The planned size of the Kolos facility would make it larger than a data center in Langfang, China, that is currently the world's biggest. However, it won't be as big as the Switch Citadel campus in Nevada, which is still in development and will eventually be the largest data center in the world at more than 668,000 square meters.